All right, Sit Down Zumock podcast coming live and direct in full effect from Los Angeles, California, here at the Comedy Pop-Up Network. You can follow them on Twitter, Instagram at Comedy Pop-Up. What's the YouTube channel, Alex?
Ooh, probably just Comedy Pop-Up.
It says Comedy Cast. What does that say?
So we're at comedypopupla.com and then youtube.com/CPU Podcast Network.
There you go. And you can always follow me on social media at Chad Zumock. Subscribe to my YouTube page, Adventures in Argyle. Pick up all my albums. Make a Pandora song station for me. I'm feeling good today. I've had 3 hours of therapy this week. Talk therapy, infrared sauna. I am going full on health. My guest today is somebody I've known for a long time. Tell them who you are, where they can find you.
Lisa Alvarado. You can find me at lisaalvarado.com or on Instagram, Lisa Alvarado Comedian.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I met Lisa. You probably don't even remember this.
Probably not.
Okay. I opened for you
Where?
in a college in 2008.
Oh, yeah.
9. Do you remember this?
Was it?
It was like around noon at some community college.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Probably why I stopped doing colleges. Actually, I can't.
I think
I think I do.
You were coming off the Nick at Night thing or something. I think.
Right.
Some sort of, I don't know what it was.
Was it the lunchtime gig?
Yes.
Where kids were literally walking through the cafeteria with trays.
Yes.
And we're trying to get their attention doing comedy.
Yes. And we had lunch
I think
together.
That was my last, seriously, college gig. It just was so horrible.
Yeah. I remember my college agent says, hey, I got a gig for you, but it's opening for someone. I'm like, cool, no problem. And I had heard of you because, just from comedy. I'm like, yeah, I'll work with her.
Yeah.
And it was a really shitty gig.
Very.
Yeah. But I think you did well. I ate it.
Well, you can't even do material at those gigs. You have to just make fun of them and the situation because they're not paying attention to you anyway.
It was like, because they're doing everything but watching you.
They're so overprivileged. I mean, the college is spending thousands that it has to spend on bringing in this entertainment, which is better than what they should be having because they just don't even care. They don't even care.
Oh, yeah.
They're just walking by and like looking at you like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I know. And meanwhile, I'm just saying, just get that check, cash it, and we're good.
Every time. That's what I'm doing. It's like, it's a paycheck. You're going to pay your rent for 2 months on this.
It was in Ohio. I just forgot where it was. It was in Ohio, like I don't know, Division III school or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It was, Yeah, I don't do those anymore.
Yeah, either do I. They don't want me. Last time I went to, because I had a college, I still had a college agent, and NACA. I did NACA. Alex, you ever do NACA?
No.
Don't. You spend like $1,500 to go in front of all these buyers, like your cattle,
right?
And they decide if you're good enough. And I had the best set. I'm not even joking, but I was just a little blue, and they're like, I wouldn't even. I'm just edgy.
Right.
So none of them wanted to buy my ass. Like, I'm done with this shit.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Plus my material, I don't talk about things they want to hear about. I mean, I only have like 2 Facebook jokes and that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is about my kid and my life. They don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, we are the kid, like
Right.
it's my act was not right for it. My attitude wasn't right.
And this is a while back, but now colleges are so like, it's weird. Like Seinfeld came out and said he doesn't want to do colleges because it's so PC now and this culture that we live in.
Right.
So yeah, even if I wanted to do a college, they're not going to have me. It's over. So the money's good though.
Well, maybe I'll open for you and get some big gigs and I'll go on the road.
When'd you start comedy?
2000? I think it was 1999 that I actually started a comedy class.
Who taught the comedy class?
Graduate Dobie Maxwell at Zanies because I'm from Chicago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's see what Dobie Maxwell's up to these days.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
And you took the class and you were like, this is for me?
I took the class because I was too chicken shit to do it on my own. I was doing improv for like 6 years already.
Right.
And I couldn't. I was so scared to go up there by myself, my own material. And so I was like, if I take a class, it forces me. Like to graduate, you have to do the 5 minutes.
Right.
And it's all friends, so it's just a cush first time because I figured if I really tanked the first time, I'd probably never do it again.
Yeah.
Because it would be too painful.
Yeah.
And I thought that I was funny, that I could do it. I knew I have weird thoughts, like most comics, we just see things differently.
Yeah.
And it was a good experience. I was glad I did it.
Yeah. Did you take a comedy class?
No, never did.
Really?
I work with a lot of them. I meet a lot of like comedy class
Yeah.
teachers, and I know people who've come. Like I know people I respect who come from teachers I know personally. I'm not against it. I've just never done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a Dobie Maxwell update.
Oh, no.
Was he called Mr. Lucky?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he's a national touring award-winning comedian. He's been perfecting his craft since 1985. So you went to a guy
Ooh.
who's been in the game. He's worked with such notable comedians as Jay Leno, Jeff Foxworthy. He's so full of shit. Robin Williams, Tim Allen, Drew Carey, Andrew Dice. He probably was on like a Hollywood improv stage with them or something.
Right.
But he's not on the
Showcase
road.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Allen didn't take him out on the road.
Yeah.
And I don't want to start a fight with Dobie Maxwell.
Don't start a fight.
But it looks like he does a lot of corporate gigs these days and private functions. So let's go to DobieMaxwell.com. He's 56. He's doing well. He's born in Milwaukee. There's your Dobie Maxwell update in case you
I think
wanted.
you should have him on if you can find him.
Can we call him?
Yeah.
Let's go to the phones. Dobie Maxwell hotline. So you started in Chicago. You did your first 5 minutes. You're like, all right, this is cool. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved it. I was hooked immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, immediately. I was like, I got to keep doing this. I'm going to get as much stage time. So then I started the Chicago circuit, like the open mics and all that.
Chicago's got a great scene.
They have a great scene.
Yeah, I was just out there at Zany's in Old Town, and I did like 4 spots in one night. I did my spot, and then I did Laugh Factory, and they got the comedians you should know. There's like a lot of cool bar gigs and stuff.
Yeah, there's a ton of bar gigs.
Yeah.
When I was coming up, it was really fun.
Yeah.
And the comics there were really supportive. I feel like it's a little different here.
Oh,
When I came out here, I feel like there's a lot of fear here and a lot of competition.
was it like that when you get here?
2002 maybe.
Was it like that back then? The fear?
I feel like it. Yeah.
Because
Maybe
I
it's
noticed it
worse
this
now.
year. It's way worse now.
Really?
Everyone's
When did you get
scared.
here?
Well, I started here in 2004
Scared like in what regard?
because of this cancel culture that we're living in right now, with everyone getting, just stuff yanked away and people throwing people under the bus. It's people are just like they realize at any moment this could be taken away.
Yeah.
And there's so many more comedians. You have to admit there's way more.
Yeah, there are.
Like
There's
everywhere.
a lot more female comics, which I love.
Ton.
Yeah. There's
And-
so many talented ones now. It's great.
I used to get spots at the Hollywood Improv where you're employed all the time. This is the first year of my life where I haven't gotten anything. I'm like, you
Yeah.
kidding me? This is the first time? I was like back in the boom. I was on the hot shows during the Dane days, And now
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, come on, man. Hook me up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough.
Yep. It's I've heard that one a lot.
I bet. I bet. Yeah. I know.
When you bring your talents to Hollywood?
About 2002, I was doing comedy for about 2 years in Chicago, and then I booked the first season of Last Comic, and I thought I was. Like,
Oh, you
well,
were on the first season?
I better get on an airplane and go to L.A.
Yeah. How far would you go?
I was going to move anyway. I
Yeah?
was moving anyway.
I'm pull up that first season. Was that the Dat Fan season?
Dat Fan season.
Dat Fan. They
Yeah,
pulled home the.
Ralphie May,
Yes.
Yeah.
who should have won.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah,
And,
I heard that's what's killed him. I'm just kidding. I don't.
Yeah,
couldn't
he
live
was
with
really
it.
upset. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So Last Comic, how far did you get?
I was cut right before the house.
Oh, I forgot about the house.
You remember how they used to do? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And Jay Moore was the original producer, right?
He was the host.
The
Yeah.
host, yeah. Yeah, first episode aired June 10th, 2003.
Yeah.
Look at you. So you got
Right.
cut.
So it's 2003. So I probably came out in 03. But I got a lot of airtime on that. Like, you know how they do the promos? So I was in like
The backstory and all
yeah,
that.
all the promos. So even when I wasn't on, when I was already cut, like when you saw the promo for the show, I was
Yeah.
always in it. So it just even the commercials gave me so much, like, I don't know, notoriety. And then I came out here and I was like, I'm not good enough to be out here yet. I'm not strong enough.
Yeah.
Like after 2 years, you still trying to figure out what you're doing on stage.
Yeah. I'm 16 years in, and I'm still like, I'm not good enough. I'm not so strong enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had
sure.
Dat Fan, Ralphie May, Rich Voss was on that season.
Rich
Whoa.
Voss. Yeah.
Jeff Brown, who's that? What happened to him? Rob Cantrell, Sean Kent.
Yeah.
You remember any of these people?
Yes. A lot of them.
All right.
Yeah. Dave Mordell. He was, oh my gosh, hysterical.
Dave Mordell. That's the
Yeah.
thing about comics is like, you remember those comics we used to, like when we were like starting out and they're just gone now?
Yeah.
They disappeared completely.
Yeah.
Like
they
today,
got like a real life family,
yeah.
some self-confidence.
Yeah, and some people are just like, yeah, I want to go back to I can't handle the grind.
Right.
But
Yeah.
today I was at the infrared sauna cleaning up my life, and I had Pandora on, and Kyle Cease came on. You remember Kyle Cease?
I do remember
I was
Kyle.
like, what? I haven't heard this guy's name forever. So I
A motivational speaker or
I
something,
Googled
right?
him, and he's a
Right.
motivational speaker now.
Yeah.
But he just kind of popped on. And it's just like, I remember like when I was coming up, he was everywhere. And
Yeah.
then now he's nowhere. No offense. I just don't see anywhere. I think you're.
Well, I think he's making a living doing something completely different. And I'm sure he infuses comedy, but he used to be the college king. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day?
Making cash.
Yeah.
Because he was in that movie. He was like the slow clapper. I forgot what movie was that. I'm not even going to look it up.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
You like that instant gratification, huh? You're on Google. You're the Google king.
He is.
I got a research department, buddy.
Yeah.
That's why people sign up for the Patreon so I can pay this research department. I got everyone. I got accounts receivable. I got HR. Everyone's here at the
Can I be your HR lady?
You could be you could be the HR lady, the janitor, the producer, whatever you want. I don't care. At
I
this
think
point.
you are actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am too. Yeah.
You seem pretty well reserved. What's your background again? You say it in your act. I forgot.
What do you mean, Peruvian? My ethnicity?
Is that your ethnicity?
I'm a woman.
Okay, asshole. I
ovulate still.
no, because you have a joke in your act about your background.
Yeah, being Peruvian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Both of my parents were born in Lima.
Really?
Yeah.
When
yeah,
did-
I'm first generation here. Me and 3 brothers.
Were you born here?
Chicago.
Well, okay, you were born in Chicago, so you were like all here. Now,
Yeah.
I want to sound like an ignorant American that votes. Where is that?
South America.
South America.
Yeah, like underneath Colombia.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know?
We
Yeah, I know where
really
Peru
good
is.
drugs, guys.
Yeah.
Is that where the cartels are and stuff?
Yeah, Colombia.
Are they in
Peru.
Lima? I don't know.
Well, they're-
like
they're
Lima's like a
kinda
major
all
city.
over, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's how cartels work. They're just everywhere. Yeah.
And we basically build ruins to hide the drugs.
Really?
No.
You should. You should have got in with the cartel.
Have you heard of Machu Picchu?
Yeah.
Machu Picchu.
It's like how many
Don't
days?
look it up.
How many days does it take?
That's
to-
homework for tonight. I know what.
It takes that's like a trek, right? Isn't that
It
like
depends.
that hike
Like I
is-
cheated. I took a bus to the top.
Yeah.
And then I climbed once I got up there. There's another mountain next to it called Huayna Picchu, and I climbed to the top of that on my own. But yeah, I didn't want to do the 4-day hike. No,
Do you
Yeah,
just
that's
do that
intense.
to like just for like a workout or?
you can because it's at least 11,000 feet
Really?
altitude. So it's super hard because you can hardly breathe when you're up there.
Really?
It's really intense. Yeah, and it's so beautiful though.
Is it bigger than Mount Everest?
No, I don't believe so.
I think so.
I honestly, good question. No, I used to have one of my old bosses. They did it for their like honeymoon, and yeah,
Honeymoon.
yeah, they were weird.
Are they still married?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you
Yeah. I think they conceived their child on that hike. Actually, they had a
Okay.
kid. Like,
So they walked up a mountain for their honeymoon?
Yeah.
It's like the worst marriage of all time.
If
Hey,
I
man,
had sex on the way
Peru?
up, I wouldn't make it to the top. I'd be like, I'm done.
Peru?
That was the mountain.
I don't know. Peru's like a very romantic place. isn't
Hey,
it?
honey,
Like,
let's do a tough
Parts of
mutter
it,
for
yeah.
our honeymoon. This is silly.
you know that's been said before though, at least one time, right? Somebody's done that.
Like a tough mutter for their. It's probably like those CrossFit weirdos. They're like, let's do that
Yeah.
for our love. I don't know. So your first generation over here. Like, what did your family do? Like, why did they come to Chicago?
Well, the whole better life thing. You know, my parents grew up really poor, and I know this because, like, not just the stories, but when I went back home, I asked my mom to take me to, like, the street that she grew up on, and she's like, we'll probably get shot. So we're not going to go there.
Wow.
And so I'll take you to where my cousins are. And I thought, holy shit, that's poor. So you grew up more poor than this.
You don't remember this? Any recollection?
Well, I wasn't born there. So my
Oh.
mom growing up, she wouldn't even let me go. I went to Peru when I was about 6 to visit family with my parents and my brothers. And then I didn't go back again till recently because my mom wouldn't let me go. She was scared. She's like, you look too white. You're going to get mugged or abducted. So you're not going.
Yeah.
It's only because she grew up on the poor side of town. So going back to see our family, she's like, you wouldn't make it.
That's what happened to Rambo's kid in the new Rambo movie.
Taken.
Yeah, she went to Mexico, and next thing you know, gone.
Yeah, that's a good segue.
Human trafficking. And that's
Rambo?
What happened to Rambo's kid? Yeah, right in there. That makes sense.
And that brings us to the Rambo segment where we play Rambo. No, I'm just kidding. So you moved for a better life, and when they come to the States, are you still poor? Or are you guys killing it? Like,
yeah, no, we're still poor. My dad went to college. He got
was he going to college in Chicago? Is that what brought him?
No, that's not what brought him. He had a sister here that was like, Chicago's amazing. You need to come. And then they had no idea what winter was like. And
Yeah.
I mean, to somebody that's born and raised in South America where it doesn't
Tropical.
get that cold,
Yeah.
right? To come out to a Chicago winter, I think shocked my family.
Yeah.
But it was also, where we had a little bit of family, and then my parents worked on getting their citizenship and the whole thing. And then my dad went to college, and my mom worked in a factory for like 25 years. She never made more than like $10 an hour because she wasn't a citizen for a while. And then she would train all the white women to be her boss. That's how good she was, but they would never promote her. She was one of the best in the factory, but because of her ethnicity and her accent, they would never promote her. So,
Wow.
yeah, isn't that bullshit?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think they could do that nowadays.
I don't know. It wasn't that long ago, but she worked there for 25 years.
Was she under the table or?
No,
That's how they get
because
people
once
now.
That's I think how she started. But then she did actually eventually get her citizenship, and then they still never promoted her.
Yeah.
Like she would move up 25 cents or something, and
And that's another reason to hate white women. You know, just taking advantage of the
another one.
system,
yeah,
bringing people down.
it was a Motorola company. Well, they supplied little devices for the phones, and I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
What kind of devices?
It was these little switches that would go inside of the phone. So my mom made the switches for the friggin' Motorola phones.
Isn't that
That's
like
literally like, it's just exactly like the Asian story, but it's my, Latino.
that's so funny?
So it's crazy when I hear these stories about how lazy, immigrants are. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You have any idea? On the way over here, I saw this man shoveling rocks on a site, on a construction site, and his kid was working with him. His kid had to be 10. This kid was shoveling rocks
Yeah.
with his father on a site. That's what we teach our kids.
Yeah.
And then they get here, and I'm like, I want to be a stand-up comedian.
No, I'm like we've all had those crappy jobs, and
Yeah.
actually, I think it was 4 summers ago. I was back home in Cleveland, and my buddy Cecil, he owned I don't know, some sort of company where they go in and they reinstall like bathroom floors, and I was just kind of home, and I was dealing with some stuff with my mom. I told Cecil, I was like, let me work with you for a week, just to I was like, I want to get my hands dirty. I didn't last 4 days.
Yeah.
It's like just tearing out drywall, like real man shit.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this. I'm not a man.
Exactly. Yeah. And crazy.
I got to get back on the mic.
Yeah. I know. That's why I'm like, let me have a baby. Let me do something different.
Yeah. So you had a kid early on, right?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. And how old were you?
19.
Oh, I thought you were 40.
In my act, I was 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Throw it back a year
Yeah.
in the act.
Where were you on your way before that? Like, what were you
I was going to go to acting school, Columbia in Chicago. I knew I wanted to be in the arts, and I knew I wanted to be a stand-up comedian since I was about 9. But I'm like, let me do acting. Let me do everything else besides stand-up, because that's the one thing I fear the most. But I knew I wanted to be like in the arts somehow. And I thought, oh, that means acting. But nah, not as much.
So when you get pregnant, do you go, okay, now I have to think of something else, or I'm still going to...
Yeah, so I got pregnant. I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to be a hairdresser. Because that only takes 9 months of school.
Yeah.
So I need to make money right now.
Oh, what a scary feeling.
It was really scary because I thought his dad was going to be involved, and he ended up not being at all.
That's my backstory. My mom had me. My father just decided to bounce. He's like, all right, I'm out.
How old were you?
Wasn't born.
Oh.
Yeah, but
do you know him now?
I did. I went and seeked him out. I had a relationship with him for a couple years, and I seeked him out when I was 21, just because I've told this story a million times. But like I'm half Italian, so he's like the Italian side, and I got his real last name. At the time I looked it up in the phone book, and I got a phone number of his sister, my aunt, and I told her the story. Like, I'm his biological son. He's on my birth certificate. I'd like to just kind of meet him. And she goes, okay, I have a good idea. How about you give me your number and I have him call you, so there's no like rejection and weirdness? I go, sounds perfect. And he called me the very next day. We met up. And seeing your dad for the first time is the weirdest feeling in the world. Like, I knew he was my dad right away. I was like, that's my dad.
Did you see a resemblance?
Oh, dude, it's
right
like
away?
The bone structure in our face. Like, I look like he looks like a super Italian version of me.
Yeah.
And with balding hair. But I just sat down and I started talking to him, and I do like little mannerisms, like I bounce my knee like this a lot. He's bouncing his knee. I'm like, oh, it's weird.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a pretty cool experience. And then, we kept up a relationship, but I was putting more effort into it. And it's just almost like I was trying to hang out with somebody really bad, and he didn't really want to be a dad. And
did you feel like you got closure from that, though? Did you feel like, okay, I know who he is? Because sometimes it's more painful if you feel that rejection twice into your face.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you got to say, you're an asshole for leaving, or that fucked me up, or thank you, I'm a comic now?
Everything you just said, I wrote in a letter.
That's
just
great.
pretty much broad strokes, everything he said. I said, listen, because I did a test. I didn't call him for 6 months. I was like, I feel like I'm doing all the reaching out.
Right.
And I didn't hear anything. I'm like, that's all I need to know. So I wrote him a letter saying, hey, listen, great meeting you. I learned a lot about me. I wanted to seek you out. I know you're a good guy deep down, because I have 2 half sisters. And I was just like, I feel like I'm putting all the effort in this relationship. You don't know what it was like me growing up without a father.
Right.
I was in horrible situations, and I told him the whole strokes of it. And
did you hear back?
he wrote a letter saying he kind of played dumb, like I didn't know.
Like, doo-doo-doo.
Yeah. But he's just
number.
he goes, I'm sorry you feel this way. If there's anything I can do, let me know. It was very vague, and I was just like, whatever, go live your life,
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine also it's like there's like a guilt aspect to it, and like an aspect of like, how do I dole out advice? Like, who am I now to even, like, it's got to be a weird conversation to re-enter, I imagine, too.
No,
My
I
mom
understand.
Yeah, my mom went through that with her, like with my grandfather. I met him when I was like 16, 15 maybe, and we like went out to see him, and it was just one of those where it's like, I'm like, oh, Grandpa's kind of cool. My mom's like, listen, he is a piece of shit and has been one.
Yeah.
And anything, like, he might be different now, but just know, so like, I get those things change, but like, yeah, I remember thinking, because I was like, oh, it's got to be weird for him. Like, he can't even fathom my existence until weeks ago, and I'm like sleeping in his house. I don't know.
Isn't it crazy how we're all sharing like stories about the dad? That's what I feel like is the common bond with comics.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up, not just family, but mostly father.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 90% it's the father. So you guys had dads or father figures that abandoned, and mine stayed.
It's like
and
trying to make someone
wish he would abandon.
Yeah, you want to make him proud. That was my biological father. I'm like, man, you should have just got the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like daddy issues.
So did your kid know her father?
His
father?
You have a son, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks,
I'm
babe.
sorry.
Look
Oh.
at that.
Sorry.
Do your research.
I knew
Google
I knew you had a
dickhead.
daughter. You talked about it in your act.
Daughter, what do you
I'm thinking. I'm thinking son.
He's
sorry.
wishing you had like a 20-year-old Peruvian daughter. That's what he's
right.
That's what
Yeah,
he's,
exactly. Is she single?
It's coming out of my mouth, but I mean son. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, it's been a long day.
All right.
I'm going through some stuff.
Yeah, I have a son. Mm-hmm.
You have a son?
Is that what
I'm
you're?
just kidding.
I know. I know. Alex
what?
knows. He pays attention.
Now, does he know his father?
Yeah. His dad recently went to his wedding. Like my son got married early, and yeah, I saw him. I'm good. If we don't see each other again, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's remarried.
You didn't
and
rekindle the old spark?
the old high school spark. No. He's got, the funny thing is he's got resentment toward me because I think he feels bad. I think he feels like he's been a really absent father, and it's just easier to like put it on me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, Zach turned out great, so you can just
Bounce?
Yeah, he lives in Florida, so he doesn't see Zach very often. And he has a relationship with his son, but not like him and I. My son and I are super tight.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. If you have a kid with somebody, you don't have any kids, do you?
No.
All right. No.
I live in my car. What do I
Car seat.
I
What?
gotta raise a kid in KOAs like a real hippie? But no, I don't.
But having a kid with somebody, you don't feel some internal bond with that other person, like your DNAs combine, like the.
You know what?
I'm asking. This is a selfish question. It's more for me.
No. I mean, initially, but no, because if someone treats you or your child like shit, that they break that bond, they break that trust and what's precious about it. So, I mean, as your father, you know, you have a bond, but they continually break it. You don't even want to be a part of that person's life anymore.
Yeah.
They're such a bad example of what a father should be.
Yeah.
That sometimes it's more damaging to keep that person in your life.
I've noticed this. Like the reason I brought up about like your dad or my grandfather is I've noticed a lot, and I think it's. I mean, it's definitely young people. It's people who aren't experienced with emotion. I think.
Right.
But I've noticed a lot of young men who like they act aggressive towards situations that they fucked up. You know what I mean? And like I've seen it lately with like friends of mine, and I have to fight it within myself. Where you want to like. That situation. Get the fuck out. And you're like, nah, that's the bed that you made at the end. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's very common is like a lot of young guys, they don't know how to, like, they don't know how to take responsibility. And it's
Right.
like, it's hard to do.
Yeah, it's the guilt.
Or they don't know how to fix it. And they know that if they acknowledge that they broke it, then they know it's on them to fix it. And they can't fathom fixing something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah. Because I've seen a good friend of mine, or my girlfriend's friend's boyfriend, he kind of fucked up, and he's being a dick about it. You know what I mean? And you're like, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this a lot. Like, young dudes, you act like you mess it up,
Yeah,
so,
let me put it on you because I can't handle.
Because I don't,
right.
Exactly.
That I did this. That This was my choice.
Yeah.
It's becoming actually a therapy session for me. I'm like thinking, why? This is why.
How many kids do you have out there?
I don't have any.
Chad, recline
That
that
you know
seat
of?
for a moment. Let's talk about things.
Put your feet up, buddy.
I have no kids. I got nothing. And I did. And I've done a lot of dumb things in my life, a lot of trial and error, and a lot of errors. But I was always very cautious because of my situation. Like not bringing a kid in this world until I knew 100%. Like I don't want to be a deadbeat dad. I don't want to be like a scumbag. And I understand how important that father figure is in that kid's life. And I just was always very responsible with that. Everything else was out the window.
But that's good that you learned from that because some men go down the same path as their fathers. And so the fact that you were like, this is the one thing I know I'm not going to do because I know the pain. At least you learned from that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But on the flip side of that, like some of my biggest scumbag friends of all times are the most amazing fathers. They turned them around like out of their juvenile ways and they became men. So it can work the other way.
I think like my uncle always says like he notoriously had like a shitty dad, and he always says I learned how to be a father from my father, like because he learned what not to do.
Right.
I think that's like a big part of it too. Is people who have shitty dads are like, oh man, like you realize the weight of it. I think a lot of people who are shitty dads probably come from like a good dad, because you kind of lose like, I mean, being a good parent is hard, and especially if someone makes it look effortless, and then
Right.
like to know that, and to like, I think people who don't come from from a good father, they understand that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about fathers again real quick, because I want to put some.
What are you looking up?
What's that? So when I first met my dad, here let's. I wanted to play Cats in the Cradle. So my dad, he came into my life, and then he immediately left. All right.
Every dude is traumatized by that song. Every dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So
be
funny.
like him. You know that?
My son
Gonna be like
just
you,
like me.
Dad.
Yeah.
That's a very like angsty song when you
It's
think.
very depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very true and depressing. That guy should have done it in the comedy bit.
that would be funny.
Yeah.
Maybe Weird Al can cover this. Make it a banger. Something funny. So okay, and then you're doing the acting, and then you're like hairdresser. Then you have the kid, and then where we go from there?
So I moved out here in 2003, 02, right around there.
Yeah.
Had a little heat from
The
the
Last
show.
Comic Stannick, yeah.
Right, and then I didn't understand how the business worked.
Yeah.
So I burned a lot of bridges, being honest and not sleeping around, and you know what I mean.
That's
like,
what
I
I've
was
done
like,
this year. It took
Oh
me
my-
16 years to burn bridges.
I pissed off so many managers. I'm like, ew, no. And
Yeah.
like these are the people I would beg to be with right now, you know?
Did you ever get like Weinsteined or anything like that in uncomfortable situations?
Yeah, there was a lot of those, but I think I never said yes, which is why I'm sitting in a podcast shitty office with you right now.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
No, this is beautiful.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I've said yes, and I'm sitting in the same room, right? So.
But were they even in the industry?
No, I'm kidding. I mean,
Exactly.
They worked at Barney's.
I sat on a fat booker's lap. You think I haven't done this?
He was hanging out with the assistant manager of Barney's Beanery in Santa Monica.
Oh, there's so many club owners that do it now.
Yeah.
It's stupid. They're like, oh, we'll take you out to dinner before the show. And I'm like, what? Just me? Not
Yeah.
everybody else? Just me.
Yeah, yeah. So bringing it back to comedy, being an attractive female in comedy, so you're probably getting all kinds of weird situations at the time.
Yeah, I remember the first club, one of the first clubs I auditioned for in Chicago, Chicagoland area, where I was so nervous. I probably had been doing comedy a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And, I was just auditioning to MC to get into that club
Sure.
to be a regular. And
Do I know the
at
club, by the way?
It probably. It's
Okay.
closed or moved since then. But
you
it
allowed
was
to
a
say?
pretty big club. No, because he's still around.
Oh,
Well,
tell me off air.
I will.
Okay,
I
good.
will. So anyway, I did really well, but I was super nervous. I think I did 6-minute set. It went well. And then he calls me into his office, because that's how you need to tell someone they passed. You
Yeah.
call them into your office and shut the door. I should have known, but I was so naive. And he's like, well, I have good news and bad news.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, okay. And he goes, well, the good news is you did great. The bad news is I don't date the comics that I book at the club. And I go, oh, great. So I'm in then.
Yeah.
But he literally was like, we're going to date. And so I can't book you at the club.
Oh.
Not even asking me out. And I was mortified. And here I am in this guy's office, and he's huge, and the door is shut. And so I kind of played it off like, oh, cool. So when do I start? Because
Yeah.
we're obviously not going to be. And he's like, oh, and he tried to play it off because I completely embarrassed him.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So that was one of my first experiences. And I thought, oh, this is probably going to happen often. And it has here
Yeah.
and there,
What
Like,
a scumbag.
Yeah, with bookers that like they won't pay you until you spend time with them. That's happened before
Well, that's
too.
happened with me. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
that's true.
lonely ass bookers out there that just you got
Yeah.
to sit in the office, and I'm not going to name the name, but it's like I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, I just want to go back to the hotel, dude.
Yeah.
I don't care what
I know. They
Ian
want to tell
Bagg
you
did.
their story.
I don't care what the Wayans tipped. Just give me my money.
Yeah, but does your butt hurt when you walk out?
Hey, Lisa, this is a
I'm
Christian podcast. It's for the Lord. We're not going down this road.
So, yeah.
So
it's interesting.
So you got these situations early on, and you're like, I don't want to play ball, and next thing you know.
Yeah, and with headliners too, man. There's some weird ass headliners out there. You do like road gigs, and you're. I think my weirdest one, and this guy still does comedy. Is I need
his name off the air too.
I don't know if I can tell you this guy's name because we're friends
Okay.
now. But I think he apologized years later. But he was the headliner. I was just this MC. I was had no material, and so we're driving to this gig in Chicago. And it's like 2 hours away, and it's a shitty, like, one of these bowling alley gigs or whatever. But so it's a hotel room, and then you do several gigs. But on the way, it was snowing, and he was just like, oh, I'm not shy at all. And I'm like, okay, whatever that means. And he's like, no, I'll take my pants down right now. And I was like,
it was Louis.
Yeah. So he was driving, so it's like I couldn't stop the car or anything. He took his own pants like down. So he's like sitting there naked, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat like, yeah, all right.
Were you thinking about jumping out the window or?
Yes.
Wow.
I was so like, this is weird.
So moral of the story is don't book female comics. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, she had a really big dick.
So no, it's like, so what do you do in that position? What happens? Did you ask to pull over? Or do you like, I'm not looking?
You basically, if you make it look like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy and you're so intense and like if you make it look like you're interested and you're shocked at what they're doing. Although I was shocked, I just played it off. I'm like, whatever.
Jesus.
That's it? That's as big as it. And you just emasculate the guy, he'll put his pants back on.
That's interesting.
Unless he's going to kill you, and
you're
then
like,
he won't care.
Put something up your ass real quick. Let's get kinky, man.
I know. And then after a while, I was like, can we just stop at a gas station? Because I knew he'd have to put his pants up there.
Yeah.
And pretending like I have to use the bathroom. But
wow.
Yeah, so that was
So
fun.
he rode like this for a while?
Yeah. Like, I don't know, 20 minutes.
That's a long game.
I think it was like one of those staring contests where you're kind of coming at each other like chicken on the road, where you're like, who's going to be more scared here?
Yeah.
Like, who's going to win this? It was a mental fight, really.
And this was on the way to a gig?
This is on the way to the gig. Yeah. Yeah.
And you still had to ride back with this human being?
Yes,
Oh,
in
to
their
multiple
car.
shows,
So
yeah.
and it was like hours away. So if it was like
when his pants were down, you should have been like, what do you want me to say about you when I bring you to the stage? What's your credits?
Yeah.
Jesus. See, I purposely have gone out of my way my whole career not to hook up with female comics. I think I hooked up with one, and she was very young, and I was very young in comedy. But just because of these stories alone, like I don't want my name around this at all. Like I don't want anybody saying, Zumock did this, and because you hear this nonsense and this craziness all the time. I actually, when Schumer actually did her first run of improv, she just did somebody's roast. And I was hosting for her at the Cleveland Improv. I stayed in the hotel with her, and I also knew everyone's probably hitting on her. So I was like, I don't even want to put that out there, that energy. And we stayed in the same room, and just because you don't want that following you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want.
I just basically want to put out, I'm a great guy. That's what I'm. Just put that out there.
Yeah, comedian women. He's a great guy.
No, it's just because I know a lot of comedians are. I mean, I'm not the greatest guy in the world, but it's like there's scumbags out there, just dirtbags like that guy.
I mean, there's some good guys out there.
Sure.
But it just, I
Matt
try.
Iceman's a great guy. I just saw him yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
He was at the Comedy Store. Sam Tripoli's a good guy.
Sam. Yeah, and his act is super romantic.
Yeah, that'll bring a lady in.
Yeah, those jokes. I mean, man, they make you want to take your panty off. It's crazy.
Do you have any other Me Too stories you like to share?
Me Too stories. In comedy.
I wish we could name names. It'd be a better podcast.
I know, but I don't want to take people down.
See, good for you. There's a lot of people out there, and granted, there's a lot of pieces of shit out there that deserve But there's some people, and I just say this, there was a couple ladies advancing their career by just throwing people under the bus with false situations.
Yeah.
Not all of them,
Yeah.
obviously, but a couple of them, you know?
Right. Yeah, I'm actually funny, so I don't like to
You
do
don't have to
shit
do
like
that.
Yeah.
Boom.
I like
Yeah.
it. That's good. So, no other situations we should know about on record?
On the record, no. I had one relationship with a comic that lasted like 6 or 7 months.
Drew
Like
Carey?
Yeah, how'd you
Yeah,
know? And that was early on. And you know how it's like the funny thing is like had I met this guy on the street, never would have dated him. Like I wasn't even really attracted to him or anything. But I was doing my first paid gig at Zany's.
Yeah.
And I was opening, and I mean, I was shitty. I think I had 12 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's my first booked gig. And I get up on stage, and I'm doing like 3 minutes in, and I'm not strong. And this guy starts heckling me in the audience. He's literally like, show us your tits, take your top off. They didn't bounce him because they're like, oh, she should be able to handle it. So I do, like, I'd never been heckled before. So I was like I did a couple Viagra jokes and whatever, but I just could not go head to head with this guy. He was drunk, he was older, he just kept shouting, his friends were laughing. And I'm the host and I can't control the room and I don't know what to do. And so I like rattle through another 5 minutes of my act and I bail. But knowing that I have to go back up on stage, bring up the feature, bring up the headliner, close the show.
Yeah.
And I'm humiliated. People were getting up, walking around like I wasn't even on stage. I had lost complete control of the room. So I get off and I'm crying. It was I was like bawling in the back of the room. The headliner walks in, he goes, what happened? What the hell? And I'm like, that guy over there, he's like, show me your tits. Like I'm crying. And he's like, point him out. That's all he said. And I pointed to him and he went up on stage. He spent the first at least 10 to 15 minutes tearing this guy to pieces. I mean, from his hair to his clothes to this is how you treat a female to like, I mean, destroyed this guy in such a funny way. I was like, he's my hero. Guess who's my new boyfriend? You know? And that was the stupidest thing I could have done.
Like he came to your rescue, like he's your knight in shining armor.
That's exactly why. And every woman wants to feel like, you know, the guy is, you know, putting her up on the horse and saving her. And so I just fell head over heels for this guy, which was so dumb because he was so dysfunctional. And ever since that, I've never really.
He was your George McFly.
He was.
Hey, you, get your damn hands off
her. That was exactly it. But then that night, I was like, I'm done. I'm quitting comedy. If it's like this, I'm never doing it again. It's shitty. And so my comedy coach was there, and he's like, well, I'm glad that this happened early in your career, that you're feeling this pain, because sometimes it takes a few years. And he's like, now you have to decide, how much do you love comedy? How much do you love stand-up? For the art or just for the feeling that it gives you on stage sometimes? And I was like, oh, wow. And so he's like, if you can quit, but then you'll never know and you'll never improve. So I went home that night and I wrote like 4 pages of heckler, like how to handle a heckler when they say this thing to you or when they say that. And I just wrote all this material, and I've never been beaten by a heckler since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of confidence.
Yeah, it's almost like you had to go back in the gym and train and be ready, be prepared.
I was a smart ass off stage. Why couldn't I bring it on stage?
Yeah.
Why couldn't I defend myself on stage?
Yeah.
I just never knew what the line was and how you handle it. And are you going to get booked again if you offend them? But now it's like, oh no. Oh, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to win.
Yeah. No,
So-
I think over the course of years, I've developed a memory Rolodex of every scenario.
Yeah.
And I remember being at some really crappy bar gig, and some guy was screaming. He's like, next! And I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm ready. And
Next.
then, yeah,
I love it.
I got it all, pal. Let's bring it.
Yeah.
Hey, before we leave, I want to talk to you about this documentary you did.
Yes. So it's called Don't Wait, the Michael Schmidt story. So I'm still working on it. I'm
Oh,
doing
I
an
thought it was
interview.
out.
No, I have a short version, like a 28-minute version, and I have like a sizzle reel. But no, it's about a man that his dying wish was to do stand-up comedy, and he was a fan of mine. I met him a few years ago at a show, and we became friends, but just on social media. And then when he knew he was dying, he's like, I want to do this, and I want you to help me. Can you help me get up on stage? But the problem was
What's he dying from?
PLS, which is very similar to ALS. It's when basically your body becomes paralyzed, and then you either have to get a feeding tube and a tracheotomy to help you breathe. Otherwise, it's like Stephen Hawking, passed of that. You can't even speak. You can't move your tongue, and so you need 24-hour care. So he was becoming a quadriplegic. He was already had lost use of his legs, and his arms were now going, and his tongue was just starting to go. Ugh. So his speech was a little affected, and he's like, yeah, can you help me do this before I die in like a couple weeks? And so I assembled a group of amazing headliners, Alonzo Bowden, Brian Kiley, Becky Pedigo, like just a ton of comics, and we wrote him a set, and he performed it before he passed.
Oh, wow. Where did he perform it at?
He performed it at the Comedy Palace.
Oh, in San Diego.
From San Diego.
Okay.
So we rented that back room, the little room.
Yeah.
And put it together, and friends and family, and the news came out. ABC came out to cover this story.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so he was able to do it, and I trained him for a few weeks, and then he did it before he passed.
Oh, wow. Well, I don't want any spoilers, but I'm assuming it went well.
It actually did, considering he had never done anything like that.
Yeah.
And he was in a wheelchair, and he couldn't even hold the microphone.
Oh, Jesus. Boy, do I take advantage of things.
It was, yeah. I mean, and then we get scared just because we think a joke doesn't work. I mean, this guy's fighting every single thing that could happen to a human. That's horrible.
Yeah. I doubt stage fright's on the list at that point.
Yeah, I mean, and he was unbelievable. He was doing shitting himself jokes. It was he was like, I want to talk about everything about this disease, and I want to make fun of it. And so that was so great for the comics, because we got to write.
Yeah.
For a dude in a wheel. When do you ever get to do wheelchair jokes? You can't. We got it. We can't.
Yeah.
But this guy, so we got to write the shittiest, most horrible jokes we could think of.
Right.
For him, and he delivered them.
He loved every minute of it.
Oh, he crushed.
That's great. That's a cool story. So when's this thing going to come out where people can see it?
I'm hoping soon. We're shopping it now, and I'm doing another interview next week with a man that has ALS, who's also, kind of in the last stages of it. And I'm also trying to, I don't want to do just the documentary one-off thing. I actually want to continue helping people that are
like
near
a series?
the end of their life, but to deal with the tragedy through comedy. So I'm also going and trying to hook up with ALS organizations to give some talks and train people if they want to hit the stage.
That's very nice of you.
Well, it's the least I could do, because really it's a gift. That's how we deal with our tragedy and loss in our life. Why is it any different for someone that's facing the biggest thing?
Yeah.
And then so is their family. So Michael was able to tell his family about his disease in a really funny way, which is so different and makes it somewhat palpable.
Yeah. And people love those feel-good stories.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to say, Alex doesn't work at the Improv. He actually works at Hulu, and you just sold it in the room. Yeah. You just sold it.
Boom.
And congratulations. Welcome to the Hulu family.
Perfect.
We're going to go ahead and produce this.
Oh, yeah. Comedy pop-up's going to be.
Yeah.
This was just a cover. This is a whole thing. Ashton, come out.
Since 2013, he's been doing this podcast. So for this moment, actually.
Yeah. I could feel it.
This is your Shark Tank moment. You didn't know you were coming in to pitch this, but I had the research done. And
Is my butt gonna hurt?
That's in 2019. No.
I hit the button that locks the door.
Right. Exactly.
The Matt Lauer lock. Actually, I'm hearing things. He's he's like fighting back. I heard that there's some like a lot of crap out there about Matt Lauer. That's another podcast.
That's a whole podcast.
But before we go, since you help with the people with the
ALS,
your daughter, and so what was the guy in here before us? He was like a professional.
Oh, he was his Instagram handle is he's the fastest man in the world on artificial legs. So yeah, he's got like the Olympic record for. He's got a very interesting story. The last Olympics, they wouldn't let him run because he had like some cocaine problems. He's very open about like getting over that. But yeah, so I don't know his name.
But my point being
Blake.
is, you hear people fighting for their lives and people without limbs, and I come like today. I didn't want to go to the gym because my head hurt. It's just like it puts things in perspective about how life is short
and that's another reason why I want to serve these people, because I have so much to learn from them. It's not just that I'm helping them, what I'm receiving from them, the encouragement and watching them dissect a joke and learn and see their passion in it, and they're going to die. I'm like, what you learn from them it's just invaluable.
That's almost what AA is built upon, is like people, when they go out to help someone, they're helping themselves, like learning about their disease and, becoming a better person and a better comic. Well, not a better comic, but I get what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're doing the Lord's work. Anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
No.
I would love to push this and get it out there.
I know. It's if you go to my website, it's called Don't Wait. The Michael Schmid story. There is a GoFundMe because
well, there you go.
Spent every dime in my savings account trying to put this together.
Yeah, let's get the GoFundMe going.
Yeah.
What is it? GoFundMe.com
/Michael Schmid.
How you spell his last name?
SCHMID. But if you go to my website, lisaalvarado.com, and also my Instagram has a link on it.
In the bio, yeah.
In my bio, you can click on the GoFundMe. And if you guys want to throw some money at it, that would be great. Everything that we get goes into camera equipment, hiring, lighting, sound people for these interviews.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, it's so expensive. I mean, just one interview cost me, on the cheap, was $1,500.
Are you serious?
Location, cameraman, renting equipment.
Jesus.
Yeah, but we were going to make it good.
I'm on your website. I can't find it. Where?
You can't, it should be on homepage. Go to homepage. Yeah.
Where's homepage?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, where it says home?
Oh, and if anybody's really good at websites, you can contact me, because I obviously need a new one. It's terrible.
Okay, I see it.
It's super old, yeah. So if you're on my homepage, there should be a link to
her website is stumping our research department currently.
I know.
My
You're
butt
ruining
hurts.
it. You got any upcoming gigs?
Yeah, Saturday I'm somewhere. I'll post it.
This is coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, actually, it's the comedy pop-up gig on Saturday.
Oh, you're doing? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where at? Where's that one at?
At Ladera.
Oh, okay, cool.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've done that location yet.
Well, this one's coming out. This will be out on the 26th. So go see Lisa last week. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
Alex, you need to...
I got nothing. Actually, I'll tell you what. If you're a comedy fan, you live in Vegas, I'm producing a weekly show at the Artisan Hotel. It's a cool swingers hotel.
Woo.
I'm there every Monday. So if you like comedy, you're in Vegas. Artisan Hotel every Monday.
You're on the Chris Frangiola podcast.
Yeah, Cover to Cover with Chris Frangiola. If you need something to listen to, look us up. In between sit down Zumock episodes, some Cover to Cover.
Yeah, Chris is a good dude. Alex, great guy. Lisa's a lovely lady. Thanks for listening, everybody. Sign up for her Patreon. Have a good night. That's a wrap. Good night.